Everything you've been told about Jesus is incomplete. The real teachings, the ones that could awaken your divine power, were buried, distorted, and hidden for centuries. What if the message wasn't about blind faith, but about unlocking a strength so powerful that it could shatter the illusion of this world? The Gnostic Jesus didn't preach obedience. He revealed a path to transcendence, a way to break free from the prison of material reality and reclaim the cosmic force within you. The Church, the rulers of this world, and those who benefit from your spiritual ignorance ensured that these secrets never reached the masses. But the truth was never lost, only hidden in ancient texts, encoded within forbidden scriptures, waiting for those who are ready to see beyond the veil. Now, for the first time, these 33 secret teachings will be unveiled. If you're ready to awaken, to reclaim your birthright, and to transcend the illusion, then keep watching. The world you see around you is not the true reality. It is a projection, a carefully constructed illusion designed to keep you distracted, confused, and spiritually blind. The Gnostic texts reveal what few dare to acknowledge. This world is not divine, and the God many worship is not the true source of creation. The material realm is the domain of the demiurge, a false creator who fashioned this physical existence as a prison for the soul. And the worst part, you've been conditioned to accept it as all there is. Jesus spoke of this truth in ways that mainstream religion erased. The kingdom of God is within you, he said. But those in power twisted his words, leading people to believe that salvation lies in churches, in rituals, in external saviors. The reality is far more empowering and far more dangerous to those who profit from control. The true kingdom of God is not some distant paradise waiting beyond death. It is an inner awakening, a realization that your very essence is divine. You were never meant to serve an external God. You were meant to recognize that the divine is already within you, buried beneath layers of deception and conditioning. The Gnostic Gospel of Philip reveals something even more shocking. This world, the one you've spent your entire life navigating, is an illusion. What you see, touch, and experience is only a shadow of a greater reality, a mere reflection of something far more expansive. The problem is that the rulers of this world, the archons, don't want you to know this. They keep you distracted with material concerns, feeding you a constant stream of fear, anxiety, and desire, ensuring that you remain trapped in the cycle of reincarnation, forever returning to this plane of existence without ever truly awakening. Your body, your physical form, is not who you are. It is a shell, a temporary vessel created within the demiurge's system. It is fragile, corruptible, and ultimately designed to decay. But you, your essence, your consciousness, are not bound by this flesh. You existed before this body, and you will exist long after it. The problem is that most never realize this. They identify so deeply with their human experience that they forget their true origin, becoming lost in a cycle of suffering and attachment. Jesus knew this, and he warned his disciples. He spoke of the forces that govern this world, not as divine rulers, but as deceivers. The archons, the hidden manipulators of reality, thrive on ignorance. They fuel war, chaos, and division, because a distracted soul is an imprisoned soul. Every system, from politics to religion to entertainment, is carefully designed to keep you looking outward instead of inward. The more you focus on fear, desire, and external validation, the less you see the truth, that none of it is real. But there is a way out. The key lies in breaking the cycle of rebirth, in seeing through the illusion and refusing to be trapped by it. The Gnostic Jesus did not come to save people from their sins. He came to awaken them from their slumber. His words were not commands but clues, riddles meant to trigger remembrance in those who were ready. When he said, "Let the dead bury their dead," he was not speaking of physical death. He was referring to those who walk through life spiritually asleep, unaware of the prison they live in. To awaken is to step outside the game, to refuse to play by the rules imposed by those who seek to control you. Some knowledge is too powerful to share openly. That's why we reveal deeper truths inside Insights Academy, our free newsletter. For a limited time, new members will also receive the Kybalion, one of the most profound texts on hidden wisdom. Sign up now through the link in the description before this knowledge is lost again. Escaping the illusion begins with recognition. If you can see the false nature of this world, you have already taken the first step. But knowledge alone is not enough. You must act, stripping away the layers of conditioning and detaching from the distractions that keep you bound. The next step is learning how to transform your very being, how to undergo the inner alchemy that unlocks your true strength. This is where the path of Gnosis begins, where the illusion fades, and where the real journey starts. You were never meant to be ordinary. The world wants you to believe that you are just flesh and bones, another cog in the machine, another soul wandering aimlessly through life, waiting for salvation that will never come. But the truth, the one they don't want you to realize, is that you were always meant to become something more. The Gnostic Jesus did not come to tell people to kneel. He came to tell them to rise, to remember that Christ is not a person, but a state of consciousness. This is where the path of spiritual alchemy begins, the transformation of the soul from lead into gold, from ignorance into divine awareness. The Gospel of Thomas holds one of the most powerful revelations. The light is already within you, but few ever find it. Why? Because they search outside themselves, seeking truth in temples, in preachers, in doctrine, while ignoring the truth that whispers from within. The rulers of this world have made sure of it. They teach you to obey, to follow, to accept without question, because an awakened soul is dangerous. A person who sees their own divine light can no longer be controlled. Silence is the key to wisdom, not the silence of suppression, but the silence of deep inner listening. The greatest truths are not shouted from pulpits. They are whispered in the stillness of the mind. This is why meditation, contemplation, and solitude were practiced by every mystic and every awakened master. Jesus himself retreated to the wilderness, stepping away from the noise of the world to hear the voice of the divine. The mind, when quieted, becomes a gateway to higher knowledge, a bridge between the seen and the unseen. But most people never experience this because they are too consumed by the distractions of the external world. Suffering, though feared and avoided, is one of the greatest teachers. The world tells you that pain is something to run from, that hardship is a curse. But the awakened soul understands that suffering is a crucible, a fire that, when harnessed, burns away the illusions and leaves only truth. The trials you endure are not punishments, they are opportunities. When you suffer, you're given a choice, to sink further into the illusion or to rise above it, to let it consume you or to let it forge you into something greater. The Gnostic path is not about avoiding struggle, it is about transforming it into power. One of the most hidden yet potent teachings is the mastery of breath. Breath is not just air, it is spirit, life force, the very essence of creation flowing through you. In many ancient traditions, breathwork was used to elevate consciousness, to bridge the gap between the physical and the divine. Every inhale is an invitation to life. Every exhale is a release of the old. Yet most move through life unaware of this sacred process, breathing shallowly, living disconnected from their own life force. But those who learn to control their breath unlock something extraordinary, a harmony between body, mind, and spirit, an awareness that stretches beyond the physical into the cosmic. This is the path of transformation. This is how an ordinary being becomes extraordinary, how a seeker becomes a master. It is not given, and it is not taught in the institutions that claim to hold divine wisdom. It must be earned through experience, through self-discovery, through the willingness to go deeper than most dare to go. Those who walk this path do not need validation from the world because they have seen beyond it. The next step is even greater, to not only transform the self, but to transform reality itself, to shape existence with the power of thought and word. Because once you master yourself, you begin to master the very fabric of creation. Words are not just sounds. Thoughts are not just fleeting impulses in the brain. These are the tools of creation, the forces that shape reality itself. From the very beginning, this knowledge has been hidden in plain sight. In the beginning was the Word, the Gospel of John declares. Yet few understand what that truly means. It was never about reciting prayers or memorizing scripture. It was about mastering the frequency of reality. The power to speak, to think, to name, and to declare is the power to create. This is the secret that has been kept from you, the one that separates those who control from those who are controlled. The Gnostic Jesus did not preach passivity. He did not tell people to simply accept the world as it is. He revealed that the mind itself is the architect of existence. What you think, you become, echoes through the ancient texts. Yet society teaches you the opposite, that you are powerless, that your circumstances dictate your life, that fate is something outside of you. This lie has been repeated so often that most never question it, never dare to wonder what would happen if they took control of their own mind, if they stopped accepting the program that has been running their lives since birth. Your words are spells. Every sentence you speak casts an energy, a ripple in the unseen field of creation. When you say, "I am," you are not just describing yourself, you are defining yourself. That is why the sacred name of God, the Tetragrammaton, is shrouded in mystery. To speak it is to invoke its power, to align oneself with the divine creative force. This is why ancient mystics guarded certain names, mantras, and phrases so carefully, because words alter the vibration of reality. The problem is that most people unknowingly use this power against themselves, speaking failure, fear, and limitation into existence every single day. You were taught to dismiss this, to believe that words are harmless, that thoughts are just passing clouds with no real consequence. But look at the world around you. Look at the systems that shape society, the media that tells you what to fear, what to desire, what to believe. Every narrative you accept, every label you adopt, becomes part of your reality. This is not accidental, it is by design. Those in power understand the science of language, the alchemy of thought, and they use it to shape entire civilizations. They do not need chains or prisons when they can control perception itself. But just as words can enslave, they can also liberate. To break free from the illusion, you must reclaim the power of your own voice, your own mind. Speak as though the universe is listening, because it is. Guard your thoughts, not in fear, but with intention. If you want to change your life, you must first change your words. If you want to transform the world, you must first transform your mind. The next step is learning how to access an even deeper level of reality, to open the inner eye that has remained closed for too long. Because once you see beyond the veil, there is no going back. There is a reason they want you distracted, a reason why your days are filled with noise, why your attention is constantly pulled in 1,000 directions, why stillness feels so foreign in the modern world. Because if you were ever to become truly silent, if you were to shut out the endless stream of external influence and turn inward, you would begin to see, not with your physical eyes, but with the vision that has been dormant inside you since birth. The ancient teachings speak of this hidden sight, calling it the third eye, the seat of the soul, the gateway to the divine. And the rulers of this world, the archons, have spent lifetimes ensuring that you never open it. Jesus spoke of this secret in ways that few understood. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. This was not metaphor, not poetry. It was instruction. The third eye, the pineal gland, is the forgotten key to unlocking higher consciousness. It is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual, the doorway to realms that most never perceive. But over time, this eye has been shut, calcified, rendered dormant by the very systems designed to keep you asleep. Your food, your water, your environment, all tainted with chemicals that dull the mind, that suppress the very gland meant to connect you to the divine. This is not an accident. The Gospel of Thomas reveals a hidden teaching, one of the most powerful statements ever recorded. When you make the two into one, you will become children of the living Father. This is the ancient principle of unification, the merging of the physical and the spiritual, the activation of higher vision, the left and right hemispheres of the brain, the masculine and feminine energies, the conscious and subconscious mind. When balanced, they ignite the fire of divine perception. This is why every ancient tradition spoke of the serpent rising, of the kundalini energy coiling up the spine, of the sacred fire that leads to enlightenment. The third eye is the doorway, but it requires purification. Most people go their entire lives without ever truly seeing. They accept the version of reality presented to them, never questioning what lies beyond the surface, never realizing that they are experiencing only a fragment of what is truly there. But those who learn to still the mind, to focus their inner vision, to break free from the illusions imposed upon them, begin to perceive something more. They begin to recognize patterns, synchronicities, hidden messages woven into reality itself. This is not imagination. This is awakening. Meditation is not about relaxation. It is about revelation. To sit in stillness, to withdraw from the distractions of the world, is to begin peeling back the layers of illusion. This is why the mystics, the prophets, the seers of every era sought solitude, not to escape the world, but to see beyond it. The modern world has replaced silence with noise, contemplation with consumption. But if you have the discipline to reclaim your mind, to focus your inner sight, to activate the dormant power within you, reality itself will begin to shift. Dreams will no longer be meaningless flashes of the subconscious, but messages from the higher realms. Intuition will no longer be a fleeting feeling, but a guiding force leading you toward truth. And once the veil has been lifted, it cannot be lowered again. Once the third eye is open, the illusion of this world begins to crumble, revealing the cosmic structure hidden beneath the surface. Those who awaken to this truth gain something priceless, the ability to see the unseen, to know beyond knowing, to navigate this existence with a clarity that others cannot comprehend. But this is only the beginning, because to truly rise, to truly break free from the chains of deception, one must go even deeper. The next step is the most difficult, facing the self, dissolving the false identity, and confronting the illusions that exist, not just in the world, but within the mind itself. The greatest prison is not made of walls, nor is it guarded by men. It is the prison of identity, the illusion of self that keeps the soul bound to limitation, fear, and suffering. The world teaches you to believe in the ego, to build an identity based on status, labels, and attachments. But the Gnostic Jesus revealed a deeper truth, one that has been deliberately buried. You are not the name you were given, not the body you inhabit, not the thoughts that race through your mind. These are temporary constructs designed by the demiurge's system to keep you tied to this realm. And as long as you cling to them, as long as you believe in the false self, you will never be free. Jesus spoke of this illusion in the Gospel of Philip, warning that people mistake the temporary for the eternal. The ego, the false identity, is a mask, a shadow cast by the material world. It thrives on separation, on comparison, on the illusion of superiority and inferiority. It tells you that you are what you own, what others think of you, what role you play in society. But the truth is that none of these things define you. The ego is a construct, and like all constructs, it can be dismantled. The moment you stop identifying with it, the moment you step back and observe it as something separate from yourself, its power begins to fade. Forgiveness is not just about others. It is about liberating yourself. The ego clings to resentment, to wounds, to grudges that keep you bound to the past. It feeds on suffering, because suffering reinforces identity. This is why Jesus taught forgiveness, not as a moral command, but as a tool for ascension. To let go of pain, is to untangle yourself from the threads of this world, to dissolve the chains that keep you anchored to a lower state of consciousness. But most people will never do this. They will carry their burdens for lifetimes, never realizing that they are the ones keeping themselves in bondage. Materialism is another anchor that keeps souls from rising. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene reveals a powerful truth. Desire is the root of spiritual blindness. The world conditions you to crave, to seek fulfillment in possessions, in external pleasures, in things that will never last. But every time you attach yourself to something outside of you, you surrender a piece of your freedom. The Archons have designed this system perfectly, creating an endless cycle of longing and temporary satisfaction, ensuring that people remain too distracted to seek what truly matters. And so, they chase wealth, validation, status, believing that these things will complete them, never seeing that completion was never something to be found, it was something to be remembered. To break free, one must live in the present. The past is gone, an echo that only holds power if you cling to it. The future is a mirage, an illusion that keeps you running towards something that never arrives. The only truth is now, this moment, the awareness that exists beyond thought, beyond fear, beyond the mind's endless noise. This is why meditation, stillness, and deep inner work are essential. They strip away the illusions, leaving only presence, and in presence, there is no ego. There is only being. Mastery of the self also requires mastery of energy. This is one of the most hidden teachings, one that has been systematically erased, distorted, and suppressed. Sexual energy, when properly understood, is not just physical, it is spiritual, a force that can be harnessed for transcendence. The sacred union spoken of in the Gospel of Philip was never about mere physical connection. It was a merging of energies, a balancing of the divine masculine and feminine within. Most waste this energy, unaware of its true power, allowing it to dissipate in fleeting pleasure rather than directing it toward ascension. But those who learn to channel it, who master their own life force, unlock a gateway to higher states of consciousness. The ego will resist all of this. It will fight to hold on, to keep you trapped in old patterns, old beliefs, old ways of seeing yourself. It will tell you that you are not ready, that you are not worthy, that you must cling to the familiar because the unknown is too dangerous. But the unknown is where truth lives. The unknown is where you must go if you wish to rise. This is the death before dying, the dissolution of the false self so that the true self can emerge. It is painful, terrifying even, because it requires letting go of everything you thought you were. But on the other side of that death is something extraordinary, freedom, true freedom, the kind that no system, no authority, no force in this world can ever take from you. But this is only one layer of awakening. To ascend even further, one must go beyond the self, beyond duality, and into the sacred balance of the universe itself. Because only when you integrate both forces, light and dark, masculine and feminine mind and heart, can you unlock the next level of existence. There is a reason why the divine feminine has been erased from history, buried under centuries of dogma, ridiculed, suppressed, and demonized. The rulers of this world, the archons who govern perception, understood something long before humanity did. True power is not found in dominance or destruction. It is found in balance. And balance is the one thing they fear most. They built a system that glorifies conquest, that thrives on division, that teaches people to see the world in opposites, male and female, light and dark, heaven and earth, never realizing that true power comes not from separation, but from integration. Jesus never intended for his teachings to be twisted into a patriarchal system of control. He did not come to establish a hierarchy, nor did he come to anoint religious institutions as gatekeepers of spiritual truth. In fact, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene reveals that she was not just a follower, she was a master, an initiate, one who understood the mysteries in a way that even the male disciples could not. Yet her role, her wisdom, her very presence in the story was diminished. rewritten, cast aside. Why? Because she represented a truth that threatened the power structures of the world. She was proof that divinity was not confined to one gender, one authority, or one path. The ancient teachings of the Gnostics spoke of Sophia, the divine wisdom that flows through all of creation. She is not separate from God. She is the feminine aspect of God, the force that brings knowledge, intuition, and creation into existence. And yet, throughout history, this force has been cast out, labeled as dangerous, as something to be controlled or ignored. The suppression of the divine feminine was not just about gender. It was about keeping humanity imbalanced, disconnected from half of its true power. When you remove the feminine, you remove the ability to receive, to feel, to intuit, to create from the heart rather than just the mind. You create a world ruled by force rather than wisdom, by logic without compassion, by structure without soul. This imbalance exists within every person. The masculine and feminine energies are not about physical form. They exist within all beings. The mind is masculine, the heart is feminine. Action is masculine, intuition is feminine. When these forces are in harmony, the soul expands, consciousness rises, and an individual becomes whole. But when they are in conflict, there is suffering, disconnection, and blindness to truth. The system has trained people to reject their inner balance, to embrace one side while suppressing the other. Men are told to abandon emotion, to see vulnerability as weakness. Women are told to suppress their power, to shrink themselves, to conform to external expectations. Both are left incomplete, searching for something outside of themselves when the truth has always been within. Jesus taught the importance of this sacred union, though his words were twisted beyond recognition. The Gospel of Philip states, "When you make the two into one, then you will enter the kingdom." This is not just metaphor. It is a direct teaching on integration, on dissolving the illusion of separation, on restoring what has been divided. The path to enlightenment is not found in rejecting one force for another, but in bringing them together, embracing both the light and the shadow, both the rational and the intuitive, both the structured and the free-flowing aspects of existence. The heart is the gateway to this transformation. The mind seeks knowledge, but the heart holds wisdom. The mind questions, but the heart knows. This is why so many intellectual seekers remain lost, why those who endlessly consume spiritual information often feel empty, because knowledge without connection is hollow. The true path is not in accumulating facts or proving superiority in understanding. It is in embodying wisdom, in living it, in allowing divine energy to flow freely without resistance. Compassion is the highest form of intelligence, not the shallow kindness that seeks approval, but the deep, unwavering recognition that all things are connected. To see others as separate is to remain in illusion. To judge, to blame, to hold on to resentment is to stay in the lower realms of consciousness. The archons want humanity divided, not just against each other, but within themselves. A fractured soul is easy to manipulate, but a soul that has reunited both its forces, both its masculine and feminine aspects, both its logical mind and intuitive heart, that soul is untouchable. This is the balance that leads to transcendence. When one understands that power is not found in control, but in surrender, not in resistance, but in flow, not in force, but in harmony, then the doors of divine wisdom begin to open. This is the next step of awakening, not just breaking free from the illusions of the world, but breaking free from the internal battle that has been waged within. Because only when you are whole, only when you have embraced all that you are, can you begin the final stage of ascension, the stage where you dissolve entirely into divine light, where the last illusions fall away, and where you finally see yourself for what you truly are. Not a fragment, not a divided being, but the universe itself, remembering its own infinite nature. There is a moment in the journey of every awakened soul when the illusion shatters completely. It is not a gradual process. nor is it something that can be undone. One day, you simply look around and realize that the world you once believed in was nothing more than a construct, a carefully designed mirage to keep you bound. This is the moment the soul begins its final ascent, the moment you stop seeking outside of yourself and start remembering who you have always been. The Gnostic Jesus spoke of this transformation, though his words were obscured, hidden in parables and erased from mainstream doctrine. When you know yourselves, he said in the Gospel of Thomas, then you will be known, and you will understand that you are the children of the living Father. This was not a metaphor. It was a map, a formula for unlocking the highest level of existence, the state where the individual self dissolves into the eternal. The false self, the ego, is like a heavy chain keeping the soul bound to this realm. It clings to identity, to attachment, to the illusion of separateness. But when the mind is still, when the inner sight is clear, something incredible happens. The walls between self and universe begin to fade. The seeker no longer feels like an isolated being, confined to a single body, trapped in a single lifetime. Instead, they experience what the Gnostics called the pleroma, the fullness of divine existence, the realm beyond time and form. It is not a place, not a distant heaven waiting beyond death. It is here now, surrounding you at all times, unseen only because you have been conditioned to look away. The light body is real. This is one of the most closely guarded secrets, one that only the initiated were meant to know. The Gnostics understood that physical form is not the final stage of evolution. The human body, as it exists now, is limited, dense, designed to keep consciousness trapped in a slow, restricted state. But those who awaken, those who fully integrate divine knowledge, begin a transformation that is beyond anything most could comprehend. The Gospel of Thomas speaks of this. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. This is the path to ascension, the process of shedding the dense material form and transmuting it into something luminous, something eternal. The soul, when fully activated, does not just leave the cycle of rebirth. It transcends form itself, becoming a radiant, untouchable force, unbound by physical laws. This is why they never wanted you to know the truth, why every attempt has been made to keep people focused on external gods, external authorities, external salvation. Because if you ever truly realize that God is not something separate, not something above or outside of you, but something that you are, then the game would be over. The rulers of this world thrive on control, on convincing you that you must earn your way to the divine, that you must obey, submit, and seek permission to ascend. But the truth is the opposite. The divine was never something you had to reach, it was something you had to remember. Jesus did not come to establish a religion. He did not come to build institutions, to create hierarchies, or to demand obedience. He came to awaken those who were ready, to remind them of what had been forgotten. His message was simple but dangerous to those in power. You are the universe knowing itself. You are not separate from God. You are God experiencing itself through form. But the moment you accept this, the moment you embody it, everything changes. Fear disappears. Doubt vanishes. The illusion of limitation collapses. You no longer move through life as a victim of fate, as a soul tossed by the currents of circumstance. You become the creator, the architect of your reality, the divine force manifesting its will in this realm. This is the final step before liberation. To let go completely of the illusion of self, of boundaries, of separation. To see everything, every event, every person, every experience as an extension of the same source. To understand, not just intellectually but through direct experience, that you were never small, never incomplete, never in need of anything external to fulfill you. When you reach this state, the soul begins to radiate differently. The energy shifts. Those still trapped in the illusion will not understand it, will look at you and see only what their conditioned minds allow them to see. But those who are ready, those whose time has come, will recognize something beyond words, a light, a frequency, a knowing. And through this, the cycle of awakening continues. If you are here, if these words resonate, it is because you are remembering. The pieces are coming back together. You are standing at the threshold of something extraordinary. But there is one final step, the process of truly dissolving into the divine, of merging fully with the infinite. This is where the illusion of death fades, where you step beyond the last veil and embrace the eternal. The question is, are you ready to let go of everything you thought you were? Because on the other side of that surrender, something beyond comprehension awaits. Everything in this world has been designed to keep you here, trapped in the cycle of repetition, bound to a reality that was never meant to be your final destination. From the moment you were born, you were conditioned to accept limitations, to believe that you are powerless, to remain blind to the prison built around you. They told you what to believe, what to fear, what to desire, and without question, you accepted it, just as those before you did. But something inside you always knew, something deep, beyond words, beyond logic, a silent voice whispering that there is more, and that voice was right. The greatest deception ever created was not war, not money, not religion. It was the illusion of control, the belief that you must submit, follow, obey, and conform, that your existence is governed by laws beyond your influence, that the world is fixed, and you are nothing more than a small part of a much greater machine. This is the program that has been running for millennia, the lie that keeps souls bound to a reality designed to drain them, to use them, to ensure they never awaken to what they truly are. But there is a way out. The cycle can be broken, and it begins with a single realization. You were never meant to be controlled. Jesus spoke of this, but his words were distorted beyond recognition. The Gospel of Thomas reveals what was hidden. If you do not awaken while you are in this body, you will never escape. This is not a call to passive faith, to waiting for salvation. It is a warning. You are not here to live in fear, to bow to forces that do not serve you, to accept a reality that keeps you asleep. You are here to wake up, to see through the illusion, to reclaim your sovereignty as a divine being. Reincarnation is not a gift, it is a trap. The archons, the rulers of this world, have created a system that recycles souls, keeping them bound to this plane, returning over and over again, forgetting each time, trapped in an endless loop of suffering and desire. They feed on this energy, thrive on the chaos, ensuring that very few ever escape. But those who do, those who remember, who break free, disappear from the cycle entirely, moving beyond the grasp of this system into realms beyond form, beyond limitation. To break free, you must first unlearn everything you were taught. Every belief, every fear, every boundary imposed upon you must be examined, questioned, and stripped away. The self you think you are is not who you truly are. The emotions that control you, the distractions that consume you, the desires that keep you chasing, these are the chains, the illusions, the programs that keep the soul tethered. Letting go is not about renouncing life, but about seeing it for what it truly is. The next step is to reclaim your mind. Your thoughts are the architects of your experience, the brushstrokes that shape your reality. Every time you accept a limitation, you create it. Every time you believe in a fear, you strengthen it. This is the truth they don't want you to know. Reality bends to the will of those who master their own consciousness. This is why mystics, sages, and those who have awakened to the truth seem untouchable, unshaken by the chaos of the world. They are no longer playing the game. They have remembered who they are. This is where the shift happens. This is where you choose whether to continue sleepwalking or to finally step into the truth. And the truth is this: you are not just a person, not just a mind, not just a body. You are existence itself, a fragment of the divine, temporarily experiencing limitation so that you may awaken and transcend it. And now that you remember, there is no going back. You have always had a choice. You were never meant to remain a prisoner, never meant to live in ignorance, never meant to serve forces that seek to keep you weak. This is the moment. Either you continue as before, moving through the same patterns, the same cycles, or you break free. But breaking free is not easy. It demands more than knowledge. It demands action, transformation, and the courage to step beyond everything you once believed to be true. This is where it all leads. The final step. The moment where the self dissolves, where all illusions are shattered, and where you finally become what you were always meant to be. The question is, will you take it? There comes a point when the illusions no longer hold power over you, when the fears that once gripped you fade into nothing, when the distractions, the noise, the endless games of control and division become distant echoes of a world you no longer belong to. This is the moment of liberation, the final step before everything changes. But the truth is, most will never take it. Not because they cannot, but because they are afraid. Afraid to leave behind what is familiar, afraid to step into something vast, unknown, and infinite. Because once you step through that door, once you let go of everything that is not real, you can never return to who you were before. The greatest challenge is not escaping the system, it is escaping yourself. The self that was shaped by the world, the identity that clings to beliefs, attachments, and the illusion of control. The false self that fears dissolution, that resists change, that seeks comfort in the familiar even when the familiar is a cage. This is why so few ascend. Not because the path is hidden, but because the path demands total surrender. You cannot bring the old self into the new world. You cannot hold on to limitation while seeking infinity. To step into divine power, you must first dissolve everything that is not truly you. Jesus spoke of this final step, though few understood his words. Die before you die, he said, not in body, but in ego. The death of self is the ultimate initiation, the moment where the last attachments fall away, where the soul is no longer bound to form, to past, to limitation. This is not annihilation, it is transcendence. It is stepping beyond the illusion of individuality and into the realization that you are, and have always been, the divine itself. The Gospel of Thomas reveals this with absolute clarity. When you make the two into one, and when you make the inside like the outside, and the outside like the inside, then you will enter the kingdom. This is the final alchemy, the merging of all opposites, the dissolving of all barriers, the complete and total reunion with the source of all things. Everything in this world is designed to pull you away from this moment. The distractions, the endless cycles of suffering, the illusions of power and fear and control, all of it exists to keep you looking outward, seeking answers in places where they will never be found. But now, you know the truth. The kingdom of God is not in the sky, not in a church, not in anything external. It has always been within you. It is waiting. The only question is whether you are ready to step into it. But know this, there is no more time to waste. The world is shifting. The illusion is unraveling. And those who do not wake up now may find themselves trapped in a system that is collapsing, clinging to the ruins of a reality that no longer serves them. The window for ascension is closing, and only those who take action will step through it. If you have made it this far, if you have felt something stir deep within you, if you know that this is not just another video, but a call to something greater, then do not let this moment slip away. This is why Insights Academy exists. To go beyond what can be spoken openly, to reveal what has been hidden, to provide those who are ready with the tools to break free. Join us now before this knowledge disappears again. For a limited time, we are also sending all new members the Kabbalion, one of the most powerful texts on ancient wisdom. The link is in the description. Do not let this pass you by. Now, the choice is yours. Stay in the dream or wake up. Continue playing the game or step beyond it. You have always had the power. You have always had the key. And now, you stand at the threshold. What happens next is up to you. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting, I understood it.